it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and Ascension forecast for Sunday, August 20th to Saturday, August 26th. So last week we had Venus and the Sun come together for their conjunction, which of course was the rebirth, the resurrection, the renewal of Venus's energy. That took place on the 13th. That kicked off her brand new cycle as we closed the door on the last 8-year cycle. Of course, it preceded the new moon in Leo that took place on the 16th, really pushing us into this newest version of self. Now, many people out there thought that the new moon in Leo was going to be this high vibratory energy where we were going to stand proud and stand tall in our true, authentic selves, when I was really kind of talking about how it was going to be pretty heavy, seeing that at 23 degrees, it was about endings and closures. Again, the only new things that we were initiating under that new moon in Leo is things that we have to bring to life because of the things that have ended, the things that we have essentially put to death. So that doesn't sound very happy, very bubbly, very spirited, and many of us still very much sitting in the funk of that heaviness, of that weight. Of course, the moon shifted into Virgo shortly after that new moon peaked, and that really kind of brought us down a couple of pegs, really grounded us out, really brought back a lot of mental stimulation where logic and practicality was definitely being used to approach the problems, the issues that we have identified. Of course, the Virgo energy wants nothing more than to fix, to heal, to resolve the issues that is definitely plaguing us, definitely weighing our mental plane down, and creating order where there's been chaos. Now, that all sounds very well and good, except for the fact that we get tunnel vision in this Virgo energy, and we kind of miss the details going on outside of the peripherals that we're able to actually focus in on. So we are kind of experiencing this transition of resets coming out of this Virgo energy, mostly due to the moon aligning with Mercury, aligning with Mars, already in this Virgo energy that is going to kind of give us an emotional boost, not only in our mental plane, but in our soul, in our spirit, in our physical bodies as well. Of course, this is helping us to kind of bring the last week of Leo season to a close, because this week we will be entering into Virgo season on the 23rd. Virgo season in Earth energy, ruled over by Mercury, ruler of the mental plane. You best believe that Virgo energy is a time when we get back to real life, get back to reality. Many people, again, returning from vacation, kids going back to school, people going back to work. We realize we need a new schedule. We realize we need a new routine. We have to have new habits in order to support our health and wellness, our mental health especially. And of course, really giving ourselves the opportunity to reorganize, rearrange some things in our physical realm in order to provide us with more safety, security, and stability, especially where flowing through our day-to-day routines are concerned. We are going to have a very interesting dynamic this Virgo season, though, because on that same day, the 23rd, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves, already in his place of power in this Virgo energy, is going to go retrograde. Yep. Another retrograde. Yep. Another planet joining all the other planets in a retrograde. Yep. Another Mercury retrograde in an Earth energy that absolutely paralyzes us. If the previous Mercury retrogrades in Earth energies were any indicator, it is a troubling time. And I don't know about y'all, but I have had my fair bit of technological havoc so far. And if this is any indicator on what Mercury retrograde is going to be, I may just sleep through it. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anywho, that takes place on the 23rd as well. So while the Virgo season in its normal general disposition is for us to kind of create order where there's been chaos, to get organized, to get back to real life, to really set ourselves up for success, the Mercury retrograde energy is going to have us taking a good look back, just like all the other planets currently in a retrograde. We're reflecting back, we're revising, we're reviewing, we're figuring out where we can kind of improve, where we can make some progress, where we could do things better. And in that, we are going to have the opportunity to kind of straighten some things out, but not before a whole hell of a lot of confusion. Let's just leave it at that. Now, we will also have the first quarter moon taking place in Sagittarius energy on the 24th. The first quarter moon of any lunar cycle is an aha moment, a realization, especially dating back to the new moon. This is our first point of action, our first, I'm going to say, intensity in order for us to choose to decide on how it is that we're going to proceed from here. Having the first quarter moon take place in Sagittarius energy is going to be very spirited, very reassuring, very renewing, where our hope, our faith, our dreams, our wishes are concerned. We are likely going to gain a bigger, broader perspective, a bigger, broader vision, if you will, on where it is that we want to go from here. There are going to be some puzzle pieces revealed to us over the next coming of days that we're definitely going to have to sit and percolate with. The retrogrades are definitely going to add that looking back element, that review, that reworking, that rearranging element, but it's very much needed as we are kind of trying to bring this new version of self online anchor into this particular storyline. So it's going to be a back and forth, ebb and flow type of situation. But as you've been hearing me say for God knows how many months now, this is about the whole back to the future thing. In order for us to figure out how it is that we're moving forward, we have to go back. We have to look back. We have to revise, reflect back. How did we get here? What are the choices that we made? What do we wish that we could have done differently? Do we have an opportunity to improve any type of situation or circumstance in the here and now? The answer is going to be yes. The Virgo energy, again, very focused on identifying the problems so that we can fix them, identifying the wounds so that we can heal them, identifying any situation or circumstance that could be done better. We are going to do just that. So that first quarter moon in Sag is going to illuminate for us a bigger chunk of the path forward that we haven't been able to see as of yet. And again, because that Sag energy is a fire energy, it's a mutable fire energy, we have the ability to change. We have the ability to transform. We have the ability to pivot if need be. And right now, the Sag energy is really helping to boost our confidence, boost our optimism, put us in a different mood and attitude, and really kind of, again, renew our hopes, our dreams, our wishes, our faith. Now, this is the last week of Mars being in Virgo energy. We will see Mars move into Libran energy on the 27th, which will be a very interesting dynamic. Again, take a listen to the August energy forecast if you haven't already. There will be an additional forecast solely focused on this particular event, but let me just say that Mars in Libra, probably not going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. Let's just say that. Mars in this Virgo energy, yes, has been stunted in growth, in productivity, in progress, but the moves that we've made, and again, you probably won't even think that you've made any moves until you get into a different energy and reflect back on this time, but the Mars in Virgo energy has been super productive. Albeit very slow, very low, very steady progress, we have really identified a lot of issues, if nothing else. And we have been logically and practically trying to approach these issues in a way that we need to come up with a plan and strategy on how it is that we are going to fix them. When Mars moves into Libran energy, yes, there's going to be a major focus on relationships, but even more than that, we're going to have a major focus on taking action and making moves in order to balance ourselves out. So it's almost like if we were to rewind a little bit, Mars in that Leo energy was big and bold and grand and just, optimistic and we can do anything and put your heart and your head into it and dream a bigger dream and la 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 la. Mars in Virgo energy was like, okay, if you want to stand a chance in hell of being able to bring any of those things in life, let's actually focus in on the smaller details of what needs to happen, what needs to be fixed and healed and resolved before we can actively take action to bringing new things to life. So we kind of put the tunnel vision goggles on. We got fixated. We didn't really see a whole lot of what was going on outside of the peripherals of our vision goggles. And therefore, when we move into the Libran energy, we're going to be like, oh, wow, I was so focused on this particular area of my life that these areas of my life totally got out of whack, totally got out of balance. This is going to be our energy, our attempt to reestablish balance, to really make peace, to really accept the terms of our current circumstances in a way that provides us with a little bit of a new compromise, a new grounding point for us to actually operate off of. Can't forget that this is also the last week of Uranus, the Great Awakener, being direct as well. He's going to be joining the retrograde gang, if you will, on the 28th. And again, please listen to the August energy forecast. If you haven't already, get out your e-guides, capture the energy of this particular event, because we got 4.5 months of Uranus being retrograde. And let me just say to you, typically speaking, Uranus being retrograde in this Taurus energy is going to illuminate for us where it is that we're overly attached to this materialistic realm and some of the elements that we've created in it. And sometimes we're illuminated to that by having those particular attachments removed from our lives altogether. Karma is about to sort us out in a big way. Uranus, of course, brings a major shift in consciousness, a major shift in the collective consciousness as well. And we are going to have some aha moments and epiphanies that are totally going to change the game, let alone the course, the path, the plan, the direction that we thought we were going to be going in. So this is the last week that Uranus is going to be direct, giving us activations, aha moments, and epiphanies outside of ourselves. And the minute that we kind of join that retrograde gang, we are very much internalizing that energy and really waiting for those aha moments to be triggered and activated within our own selves, our own consciousness, our own awareness. So yeah, we got a lot going on. Typically speaking, every week we have a lot going on now. Why is that? Well, because we never made it this far in the humanity project. We've never made it this far on this earth plane before. We are literally in foreign territory. We are literally in a chapter of creation that we've never had the opportunity to experiment with as of yet. And so the evolution of our individual consciousness and, of course, the collective consciousness has never reached this particular vibration and frequency thus far. So it's making it very, very hard for us to have a quote unquote normal time, quiet time, stable time. May I remind you, if you're having 2 good days in a row, you're very lucky. You've won the energetic lottery jackpot. Very rarely are you going to get 2 bad days in a row, let alone 2 good days in a row. We're up, we're down, we're everything in between. And a lot of that is because just as we are bringing new ideas online, we have to go back and collapse the old ones in order for the new ones to be anchored in. So just as we take one step forward, we have to turn around, take a look at where it is that we've come from, how it is that we even got here, kind of delete some of those steps in order for us to progress and moving forward. So this whole human experiment, we've never gotten this far in the video game before. And this is why each and every single week, it feels like a new level of the shit show of life. And it essentially is. Now, I got to cover a couple of things as far as homework goes, and then we're going to jump into the Ascension symptoms for this week. And I got to tell you, I started making notes, and then I said, screw it, I'm really not in the mood for notes. And to be perfectly honest, I even sat here this morning and I'm like, why do I continue to talk about this stuff? Like, why do we even care to talk about this stuff anymore? This should be common sense. This should be every day. Like, why is there a need? I literally sat here this morning and I'm like, do I really need to continue to repeat myself? Do I really continue to do these forecasts? Is there really a need for it? Because many of us are obsessed with this particular spiritual evolution, when realistically speaking, we've taken it to an extreme, which it was never supposed to be. We're losing contact with the human experience, even as unpleasant as the human experience is right now. And the more we consume ourselves with the Ascension symptoms, with the Schumann Resonance, with the energies popping off, the less time we're actually spending being a human being in this physical earthly realm construct. But here I am. We're talking about it. We're going to continue talking about it because I have to remind myself that just because I'm kind of tired of talking about it, because I'm 15 years into this awakening crap, let's say, this stuff is boring to me. This is monotonous to me. This is very it just irks me in such a way that I can't even really truly explain it. But I always have to remind myself that there are other people out there that need the validation, that need the confirmation of their experiences, that are still questioning whether or not they're cuckoo and should be locked up. And of course, the whole mission of this community is to remind you that, first of all, you're not on the crazy train. And second of all, you're not alone on the crazy train if you were on a crazy train. And if we were on a crazy train, I would be happy to be your conductor. So I guess the conductor has to conduct. And we're here. We're going to talk about it once again. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for tuning in, for liking, for sharing, for commenting, for dropping emojis in the comment section, because all of that helps the algorithm. I want to thank you for your continued love and support, the reminders that obviously I need on such days as today when I'm questioning why I continue to ramble on about this stuff and whether or not it's needed nor important. Thank you for the reminders of why it is that I need to continue doing this. It is super helpful to get a reality check every now and then, a reminder that these particular forecasts do make an impact, that they do help, that they do provide guidance to those that are still out there kind of grasping at straws on what the hell is falling apart, falling from the sky in this earthly realm at this time. And I just want to thank you for the overall continued love and support that you give me, not only in these forecasts, not only in the live chat, but just on a daily, sending me messages, tagging me in things. I really enjoy that interaction. So I want to thank you so much for that. I also want to thank you to the very few of you that opted to join into a new membership level here on YouTube. I actually don't think that it's because people don't want to join these memberships, because you guys have all expressed for me that you want access to the content that I, up until this point, only had over on Patreon. I don't think you see the membership button. The reason being, I don't think YouTube wants to support my memberships. The reason being, I don't think YouTube likes me. I don't think YouTube likes what I have to say. And ever since I initiated those memberships, first of all, like I said, I only have 2 or 3 subscribers at this point. They couldn't find the button. They couldn't find the link without me sending it directly to them. And ever since I enabled memberships, first of all, it reminds me of why I disabled the memberships many, many moons ago, because the amount of money that YouTube takes from my beautiful paying clients and the amount of money that I actually end up with is absolutely sickening. And I hate that YouTube is making money off of any of us. I absolutely hate that. It disgusts me. It reminds me of why I disabled the membership feature many, many moons ago. But here I am. We're trying it again. But what I've noticed is ever since I enabled memberships, not only can people not see that I'm offering memberships, not only can they not find the link to join, but YouTube's been messing with my normal videos. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I think it was Wednesday or maybe Tuesday, I posted what was supposed to be Wednesday, and it had copied Wednesday's forecast over again when it should have been another day. So YouTube Studio does a lot of weird things. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, so I had to do that video twice over. Just yesterday, when I was trying to post the forecast for the 18th, there was no sound. Like literally, I can click the button on my computer, there's sound, everything's flowing, everything's beautiful. I upload it, there's no sound. I go back to the original, Creator Studio where you piece it all together and all this kind of stuff. Everything's legit there, but you press watch, no sound. I did that video. It took me 3 hours yesterday, guys, to figure out what the problem was and then to fix it. And I ended up doing that video 4 different times. And it is so frustrating to me that I spend as much time on this YouTube stuff as I do, when I really don't get the return on investment that I should. And that is nobody's fault. This is like a YouTube problem, but I feel personally freaking attacked by YouTube. I know I say it all the time that they, flag me and they censor me and all this kind of stuff, but I just don't understand. They're making money off me. They're making money off of the people that I have in my channel. They're making money off of the membership. So why wouldn't they want to promote me? Why wouldn't they want to support me? Why do they go out of their way to send glitches into my videos so that nobody can hear them, nobody can see them? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. And I know sometimes it feels like, oh, well, it's, you're just small, Marley. There's no reason why YouTube, this big YouTube platform, would come after somebody so small like yourself. Okay, well, I sat in that, but then talking to other creators, they get flagged, they get censored, they have wonky things happen to them, but it doesn't seem like it's in the same capacity as what I'm dealing with literally on a daily with YouTube. It is so freaking frustrating. So in my forecast for the next little bit, you are going to probably be very sick and tired of listening to me repeat myself and plug these membership levels. But I feel like this is the only way for people to understand what it is that I'm actually offering, because YouTube is not supporting the promotion of these membership levels in the way that they said that they would. So if you are interested, you often hear me talk about, the monthly zodiac forecast for all the signs. Up until now, you've had to sign up to Patreon, which a lot of people are hesitant to do for one reason or another, or you could, spend a pretty penny downloading them one by one from my website. Well, now I've enabled 3 different membership levels. They all include different things. And, this is covering discount codes. It's covering the moon guides that I talk about. It's covering the astrological forecast. You get my personal podcast, Marley Rants. You get all the astro classes, depending on, what membership you sign up for. And this is the thing. It's like the first couple of days that I activated it, I couldn't believe that nobody was signing up for it, because I've literally had people ask me, is there a way that you can do this so that I don't have to sign up to Patreon? And I came up with it here on YouTube, and then nothing happened. And then realizing by talking to people that you can't even see the join button. You can't even see the membership levels. You didn't even get a notification that I even offer membership levels. And it is so, so frustrating. So I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for listening to me repeat myself in the coming of days trying to promote these membership levels, because otherwise I don't know how anybody's ever going to know about them. And I want to thank you, like I mentioned, to those few who have signed up through some miracle, however you were able to find the join button, or however you were able to click the link. I have no clue, but I thank you for it. And I'm hoping that I see more and more people access the private content that, again, has only really been available on Patreon as of now. And for my Patreon subscribers, first of all, I want to thank you so much for continuing to be a Patreon subscriber, but I would highly suggest and recommend that you stick with Patreon. You're getting far more out of Patreon than I could even offer in these membership levels here on YouTube, just because they don't offer the type of, I'm going to say, content delivering system, let's say, that Patreon allows me. So for those of you that have asked, like, oh, should I be jumping over? Because I posted on my Patreon, like, hey guys, I just opened up the YouTube levels, but don't worry, you're getting more over here. When people kind of say, well, is YouTube better? No, YouTube is not better. First of all, they gouge, okay? They take 30% of all funds that I could even muster up the courage in creating, which is just painful. Patreon, although not much better, is better than 30%. But it shouldn't be about nickel and diming. It should be about people being able to access the content that they want to access. And YouTube just doesn't seem to allow my content to be seen by those that have opted to want to see it. So as I mentioned last week, this might be a very, very short experiment with the membership levels on YouTube, like it was many moons ago when I tried this before and I was not happy with it. But nonetheless, I've spent a lot of time uploading all of these podcasts, all of this content, all of the astro forecasts, all of the astro classes, and I'm dripping them out. I'm releasing them very slowly over the next couple of weeks in order to get all of us on all platforms on all of the same page with the content that I'm putting out there. And I just hope that, that YouTube just plays nice. That's all I'm hoping for. So I know that was a little bit of a negative Nancy rant, but man, I gotta tell you, I spend so much time being frustrated over the blockages that I don't think people should have to deal with in order to get content out to the people that have asked for it. It just seems like a simple thing to me that I think is just being complicated by these algorithms that I don't think are supporting people in aligning with the truth and aligning with the content in which they're requesting to be kind of connected with. So we're going to see how this YouTube thing goes. But I want to thank those of you, especially over this past week where there has been glitches in the videos, where videos have been cut off mid-sentence, midway, where they have basically taken the audio files from the previous day, slapped it onto the new day, and tried to deliver it as something new. And thank you for bringing that to my attention, because now I'm going to have to be triple checking whether or not there's audio, whether or not it is the minutes. I had one video go totally blank, totally black, 10 minutes in, and it was a 23-minute video. So this is a problem. And I want to thank those of you that bring it to my attention, especially as fast as y'all do, because it gives me time to actually correct it. But I'm hoping that I don't have to continue to correct it, because it takes a lot of time, energy, and resources to figure out what the freaking problem is in order to fix it. But I thank you nonetheless. Okay, so let's talk about some Ascension symptoms. Let's talk about frustration. Well, why? Because we're irritable. Okay, why? Because we're anxious. Okay, why? Because we don't know what the F is going on. Okay, so we had this rebirth, this resurrection from Venus. We moved right into that new moon in Leo. We are awaiting for some dramatic situations and circumstances to change. We don't know what we're waiting for. We don't know how they're going to change. We don't know where to go from here. We understand. Now, a lot of the energies that are very confusing and very mixed up right now is due to watching global events that many of us feel powerless and helpless, I should say, in order to, I'm going to say, make sure that they don't continue happening. I think we all know what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to say it. And I honestly don't even want to talk about it, because that's what they want us to do, is talk about the things that hurt our feelings and that invoke fear and anger and frustration. But it's no coinky-dink that it took place on 8/8. It's no coinky-dink that it happened to the heart chakra of the earth. And it's no coinky-dink that it was an attack on the, I'm going to say, original indigenous people that still have the natural laws, the spiritual understanding of the earth plane. It is no wonder why those particular groups of people are being kind of personally attacked. Okay, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. We're going to be kind of cryptic, because as you know, YouTube already doesn't like me. But just know that this is all man-made. This is all a script, that it is all happening in order to push a particular narrative that I'm not going to say, but it has to do with a false narrative around our weather systems. And let me also just say that these attacks are going to continue until at least 2027. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons for it that I don't think I want to get into here. Maybe that'll be a private podcast available on my membership platforms. But it is using the most powerful gateway that we have, which is the quote unquote 8/8, even though there was no astrological evidence of 8/8 being important. Nonetheless, it's an energy harvesting date, and they did theirs. They got their energy. They did well. These people are not dumb, okay? They know what's up. They know how to manipulate not only this earth school, but the spiritual, cosmic, let's call it, script and outcome taking place in other realms that have a dramatic effect on this earthly realm. This is our opportunity to not give it any more power than they've already taken from us. So one would say, but if we just ignore it and we don't talk about it, then nothing's going to change. Okay, so what is talking about it? What is invoking fear and anger and frustration doing? Because it's not changing anything. You can't change these people. What you can change is your consciousness. What you can change is your focus. What you can change is your vibration and frequency, because technically speaking, our consciousness is what is creating these events right now. And it's very frustrating to be in a state where we had all of these new beginnings, again, Venus being resurrected and then the new moon in Leo. Those were our leap points, if you want to call it that. It is very frustrating that they take advantage of energetic days prior to these life-changing days that set the tone, the vibration, the frequency of fear, frustration, disgust, and hatred, basically. So we need to boss up. We need to do better. How do we do that? Well, we cut off giving them attention and focus. We cut off the element of surprise. We cut off pouring into that angered type of narrative. And all we can do is understand that there are soul contracts at play. As horrible as the endings may be for some people, that is written in a contract somewhere, and everything that is playing out right now on this earth plane has been agreed upon by every soul that is here to experience it, good, bad, or otherwise. So the confusion is coming because there's a ripple effect that takes place in the consciousness of the collective when such an event or such a quote unquote attack is initiated in the spiritual war that we've been in. So here we are, we're supposed to be kind of, seeing the skies clear because this new version of self is emerging from the pile of ash that we have been resurrected in, just as the phoenix would. And we're flying around and all we're doing is seeing more and more levels of smoke. And I don't even mean that to be punny at all. We're seeing smoke, confusion. We're seeing mirrored confusion back to us. We're seeing an inability for the, let's call them evildoers, to just accept the defeat that we already know is written in the stars. And so this is like the desperate plea, if you will, for them to kind of remain in control, in power, and to harvest as much energy, loosh, as they can possibly get from us until we all wake the F up and understand that the minute that we stop pouring into those narratives, that they no longer exist in our reality, in our consciousness, in this particular timeline. So what we need to do now, we're in the final days of Leo season, we need to boss up, okay? We need to start embodying the qualities and characteristics of this Leo energy that we've had a hard time standing in and anchoring in since Leo season began. Now, if we want to go back, I often talk about how we first enter into Leo season. We're kind of like the cute little cowardly kitten. And as we move through the Leo energy, we evolve, we grow, we develop into the king of the jungle, Leo the lion, that we're meant to be. We are in the final days of Leo season, which means that we are going to see a shift in mood, a shift in attitude in order for us to be truly proud of all it is that we've overcome, all it is that we've endured, all it is that we are currently standing in. We are needing to be heart aligned, so we can expect there to be some heart activations, but I would say in the warrior sense. No longer are we in the chapter where it's heart activation, where we're crying, we're in a state of depression. Not saying that those particular points of emotions don't come up, but we're in this particular season and cycle right now where we are kind of bossing up to new levels of attitude where we are not effing around. Okay, and we need to be doing that in our individual lives because we're about to move into a very interesting chapter where we're reorganizing and rearranging our physical realms, starting with what it is that we've been thinking about, what it is that we've been feeling in our inner realms. And we are going to start rearranging our materialistic physical realms to start mirroring back what it is that we've already fixed, healed, and resolved within ourselves. So there's going to be this boost of pride, this boost of boldness, this boost of courage, this boost of heart. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, when Virgo season kind of moves into the realm of energies, which isn't that far away, it's going to feel like we took a couple of steps back. We didn't, but it's going to feel like we did. And a lot of that is just because it's an earth energy. So an earth energy roots us into our physical body, into our present moment, very aware of our physical surroundings, our physical circumstances. Even more than that, it's ruled over by Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, who is about to go into the underworld of unconsciousness just hours after the sun moves into Virgo energy. Virgo energy needs us to focus on what we need to create in our physical realms that are going to provide us with some sort of order, some sort of foundation, some sort of routine that is benefiting us, taking care of ourselves, addressing our mental health concerns, addressing our physical body ailments. Now, again, Mercury going retrograde shortly after the sun moves into this Virgo energy, going to have a major impact on our headspace. Things are going to feel heavy. They're going to feel weighted. We're going to get stuck in loops of thought. We're going to be obsessed and fixated on certain topics and themes in order for us to fix, solve, and resolve them. We are going to have tunnel vision, but we are also going to realize where we've had enough, where it is that we have to come up with some new habits, especially new ways of thinking, if we stand a chance of breaking free from some of the weight of the mental constructs that we have been totally fixated on. So we're first of all going to feel very weighted in our bodies. We're going to feel very heavy. We're going to feel like it's hard to give an F. And we've been in that funk for a very long time. Now, we have many Fs to give, but it just feels like every single time we give an F out, somebody not only throws that F back in our face, but throws a couple of their Fs in our face as well. So why would we continue to bang our head against a wall to continue to try when we just get harshness back at us? So what we kind of have to remember is that Virgo energy is on the axis with the Pisces energy, and both of them represent the axis of healing. The Virgo energy needs us to focus on our physical realm, our physical body, where our mental health is concerned, because what you think about is what you manifest. So in Virgo energy, it's about mind over matter. What you allow to take up space, take up attention, take up time, energy, focus in your mental plane is what you will be dealing with in your physical realm, in your physical circumstances. So it's very important that we get a grip over our mental plane, that we control the thoughts, we control the energy, we control the focus, we control the attention. Is it going to come easily? Absolutely not. It's not even a chance, especially seeing as Mercury's going retrograde, joining all the other planets in a retrograde. There is not a chance that this is going to be an overnight snap of the fingers type of thing. It will likely take us the bulk of Virgo season in order for us to rearrange our thought processes enough in order to break free of the old narratives, in order for us to implement new changes in our physical realms that, of course, is going to help us move through our day with a lot more grace and ease than what it is that we've been doing, because technically speaking, we've just been banging our head off a wall. The Virgo energy, again, being on this healing axis, needs to heal the physical mind, the physical body, the physical circumstance. The Pisces energy that is now going to be in the dark because the sun is illuminating the Virgo energy. What's in the dark is our spiritual realm, our emotional realm. Keep in mind that the Virgo energy is very intellectual, very much about the mental plane, very much about logic and practicality. We actually don't have a whole lot of room for emotions because we can't make sense of emotions. And the last thing we want to do is consume ourselves with trying to make sense of something that isn't meant to be made sense of. So there is going to be a major conflict between the heart, between the head, especially coming out of Leo season, which was heart activations, heart alignment, returning us to our heart space. Now it's like, oh, okay, I got a good grip on what it is that is going to make me happy, what it is that I want to do for myself, what it is that I need to do for myself. But how am I going to do that? Well, this is where we kind of rearrange, where we manipulate, where we kind of reconstruct what needs to happen. First in our inner realms, second in our outer realms, in order to make those changes and transformations. And again, probably not going to see a whole hell of a lot of progress, productivity, growth until the end of Virgo season when we can look back on it. Also, not that I want to get too ahead of myself here, but keep in mind that Virgo season, as we move through Virgo season, we are moving into that realm of the equinox energy that comes with Libra season. And that equinox energy is a rebalancing of the scales of the karma currently taking place on the collective battlefield. So we start off in the Virgo energy confused as F, very tunnel vision, focused on what we think needs to be fixed and resolved and put into its place and organized and ordered ASAP. We reach the peak of Virgo season, which is going to really not even feel like a peak, because with all the retrogrades, we're really not piecing anything together until we get some planets go direct. And then as we kind of move towards the end of Virgo season, we're going to be moving into that equinox energy, which always brings extreme circumstances, extreme crises, continuing with the Libran energy, of course, being about partnerships and relationships. Venus, of course, will be coming out of her retrograde. She knows who and what needs to be cut off, needs to be dissolved, needs to be kind of closed the door on. And we will definitely see that balancing act be put more into play in our physical realms when we hit into Libra season. But we have to get through Virgo season first. And Virgo season is going to have us analyzing, dissecting, asking a lot of questions, really focusing in on the problems so that we can resolve them, fix, heal them, and of course, solve them. So the mental plane is definitely going to be affected. Technology, like I previously mentioned, technology for me has already been wackadoodle, has already been crazy and chaotic, and likely will continue to get crazier and more chaotic once Mercury dives into that underworld. We have to understand that communication is likely going to be messed up in so many different ways, especially with the ways that we're speaking to ourselves, but that's the inner dialogue that the Virgo season needs us to really kind of analyze in order to deconstruct and reconstruct in a better way, more supportive and encouraging way. We also have to understand that communication amongst people is going to be very, very difficult as well. And because, again, Mercury is retrograding in an earth sign, we can expect actual factual reasons, as in telecommunication systems being totally wiped out, shut down, satellites dropping out of the sky, disconnecting our communication styles completely. I would suspect that you're going to see a lot of email services be disrupted and in some cases corrupted. I'm going to say that we are going to see a lot of the online banking technologies be just cluster effed like you wouldn't believe. This is going to be a hard go, but it's also needed in order for us to deconstruct and kind of continue to disassemble a lot of the systems that have not been working. Right? There's a huge change in technology coming. Don't know if you've paid attention, but the technology that we have been working with is so outdated, so not private, so unprotected that there almost needs to be a huge breach or a huge technological communication crisis in order for us to get our shit together and actually build a system that is going to support the safety, the privacy, the ongoing connections that we're going to need. And so I would suspect that this Mercury retrograde is going to illuminate a lot of those problems and, of course, attempt to fix them. But when it comes to our physical body and the Ascension symptoms, we can expect a lot of throat chakra activations because, again, communication is now internalized. Our thought process is probably going to be a little bit more on the negative, more on the serious, more on the somber note. We're going to have a lot of clicking, clogging, ear popping situations. And a lot of that is because the, how do I want to say it? The energetic frequency that we tune in to download data packets from the higher realms of intelligence, they are going to be obstructed as well. This is a spiritual war, okay? This isn't just about solar flares and CMEs. This isn't just about DNA being activated. This is about a spiritual war that is taking place, that is being kind of reflected here on this earth plane as it's playing out in other realms. And there is a desperate cry from the evildoers in order for them to feel like they are going to remain in power. They are not. But we are going to need to see a lot more damage and destruction here on this earth plane before the tables are going to turn. And I would say that in the next coming of months, we are definitely going to see more of an attack on our ability to connect with one another, to communicate with one another. And a lot of that is both here in the physical realm, the materialistic realm of the telecommunication supports that we have, and in the higher realms, the connection to the higher realms of intelligence are going to be blocked as well. So this is why we're in the year of 7. The relationship with self is so important. Trusting oneself, not looking outside of oneself for validation, for confirmation of experiences, of thoughts, of ideas, because we are going to be in a situation at some point where we are going to have to rely on ourselves, on our own intuition, on our own belief systems, on our own information. And I would say that this is the point in time where we're going to start seeing the hints and clues of needing to become a little bit more detached from relying on these telecommunication grids, and where it is that we are going to have to learn telepathy. And I know that sounds woo-woo, okay? But it's where we've come from. Telepathy is a natural ability that we have all had. It is just due to the corruption of this earth plane and the corruption of the DNA templates that we have lost that ability. Many of us haven't lost it at all. Telepathy is a real thing. I experience telepathy every freaking day of my life. So it is not woo-woo. It is not obscene. There is a lot of scientific evidence that proves that it exists, that proves that it's true. You should be practicing your telepathy. You should be practicing being able to connect with people just through your mind, through your soul space. That is going to become an essential ability in the next coming of, I'm going to say, years, probably the next decade. But we really have to learn how to reach higher vibrations and frequencies within ourselves in order to activate those abilities and to feel confident enough to have to use those abilities when those are the only abilities that we are going to be able to have access to when the communication grid is disrupted and further corrupted. Okay, so in alignment with the first quarter moon in Sag, we can expect an elation of attitude. We can expect optimism, confidence. Again, it's a renewal of our hope, our faith, not only within ourselves, but within the greater, grander plan. And I think that it's going to be highly illuminating of the spiritual path that we need to be walking. Now, with that, there could be some discomfort in our hips, in our thighs, in our knees. Now, Sagittarius energy, typically speaking, rules over the thighs. But because we're storing a lot of fear in our kneecaps right now, because we're anxiously awaiting the movement and moving forward, and we don't really have a destination to move forward to, we're holding a lot of energy in our lower extremities, which can create energy blockages. And we're going to find that through sciatic pain, through clicking, popping, through Charlie horses, through tremors, through leg cramps, calf pain, the whole kit and caboodle when it comes to the lower extremities. But with that, it's going to kind of push us. Yeah, we're going to be heavily weighted and fixated to the earth through our physical bodies, but our thoughts, our ideas are going to become big and grand and prosperous and optimistic and confident because of that Sag energy. Now, because this is the last week that Mars is in Virgo energy, we are going to feel a lot more, I'm going to say low and slow and stable this week than we will in the following weeks. Mars rules over our physical energy, our attitude, our aggression, our passions, our desires, even our anger. He's been semi-frustrated in this earth energy because he's had to go low and slow, but at least he's been able to address some areas of concern. Now, Mars is going to have a major impact on our mood shifting very quickly. And this week, you can expect a lot of triggers and activations to kind of put you in a more inspired, motivated, determined, passionate type of attitude. We need to build ourselves up. We need to boss ourselves up. We need to be engaging ourselves, constantly trying to rev that engine and keep the fire, the spark, the flames kind of lit inside of us. We may not know where it is that we're going, but we know sure as hell what it is that we're not going back to, and that should be enough inspiration to keep the fire lit. Uranus is going to have a major, major impact on our central nervous system. We will get some zaps here this week that I'm going to say can manifest as anxiety, but just remember that anxiety is unfocused energy. So if you give that energy a focus, such as engaging in cleaning your space, organizing, doing a task and a chore that engages the physical body, you can kind of redirect that uncertain, unstable energy. I want to talk about the fact that we have some weird visuals coming in. Again, we are in foreign land, foreign territory. We are just scoping things out. There's things going on in our peripherals that we can't quite make sense of. There are full form figures that are emerging out of the crevices of our peripherals that we can't quite see. There are, again, interdimensional bleeds of not only objects, but figures that we're able to actually perceive with the light spectrum kind of expanding in our visual field. The sounds are likely going to continue, but I want to say that the sounds are a little bit jarring. They're a little bit disruptive. They're a high-pitched energy and frequency that doesn't sit right in our physical bodies. So it may come as a little bit of an alarming sound within your headspace that you're really going to think is actually taking place outside in the exterior realm, that it's not. It's literally in your head. And it's because you're reaching new vibrations and frequencies that opens you up to a spectrum that you haven't been able to access as of yet. There's going to be a lot of choking on your spit or swallowing your spit in the wrong way and then choking on it. A lot of this is because, again, the realignment that we have been going through, we have to readjust it. That's what Virgo season is going to be. So I'll give you this analogy. When you're giving a car a tune-up, you're changing the filters, you're changing the oil, you're changing the spark plugs, you're changing the timing belts, what have you. When you put everything back together, you're hoping that when you turn that ignition, that everything is going to fire on time and in alignment with the system that needs the timing to happen at the right time in order for the motor to actually work correctly without causing damage. But sometimes when you flip that ignition, you realize that the timing belt is off or that the spark plugs aren't sparking in the timely fashion in which they should. And so then you have to shut it off. You have to readjust a couple of things, and then you start it up again. And you listen to the vibration and the frequency of the motor. You listen to the high-pitched sounds, the pinging, if you will, in order to identify the problem. And then you go back, you shut off the engine, you recalibrate, you try it again. Eventually, everything will be tickety-boo. Right now, we're reigniting from this reset that we just had with Venus's resurrection on the 13th. We went through a recalibration, a realignment. We're starting the engine for the first time. We're recognizing, hey, it was a rough start. Doesn't sound right. There's a lot of smoke. The spark plugs aren't firing at the right time. So this is the week that we continue to shut off the engine, again, rest day, and then turn on the engine, get all fired up and realize what we can actually adjust, what we have power and control over to manipulate. And then guess what? We hit a bump. Now something doesn't sound good. Something doesn't feel good. We shut down again in order to realign, recalibrate, hoping that the next time we turn that ignition, that everything is just going to kind of align and be tickety-boo. This is what's going on in our chakra system. This is what's going on in our physical body. This is where the realignment is coming up, and the choking on the spit is the fluids that aren't kind of operating on the time that the motor needs them to operate on. So we're choking on our spit. Again, throat activation, Mercury. We're going to have a lot of coughing fits, choking fits, choking on your words, not being able to get the words out. Mercury retrograde. There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of from the shoulders up. There's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of weird sensations, a lot of weird activations because it's a cerebral energy. And that's what we're moving into, is a cerebral energy. We're moving out of the chest space, the heart space, the pain in the back, the pain in the guts. We're moving that energy up into the head space. So we have to be prepared with that. What's going to be interesting is that from our hips down are going to feel heavy and weighted. Again, clicking, popping, rigidity, fear, Charlie horses, tremors, connecting us to the earth. The mid chakra, so from the hips to, let's say, the shoulders, that is going to be all jumbled. That's where we kind of are going to have the disconnect, the detachment, because from the shoulders to our crown, that is where the major focus now is. So it's kind of like our mid-range. So, I'm not even going to call it the root chakra because that's going to root us to the earth. So your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, those are going through a realignment as well, but we're rooted to the ground very heavily, very earthly-like. And we're all spaced out trying to make sense of things in the cerebral energy that Virgo season is going to bring. So we want to pay attention at the fact that we're not going to feel whole. We're not going to feel in alignment for a while. We're not going to feel like we're operating tickety-boo. You may be tripping over your feet. You may be having a hard time with gravity getting the dropsies, if you will. You may have a hard time with proximity and distance. Going to put your coffee mug on the counter where you have put it all the freaking time and realize that you're about 2 feet away from the sink. Why are you so far away from the sink? I don't know. Everything feels weird. Everything is not in the same proximity in which it currently was. This is just a little alteration, a little bit of an adjustment, a little bit of a transition of the old world collapsing and the new world not quite anchored in yet. And of course, we're going through this in our inner realms. We're seeing bits and pieces in our external realms. They're not matching up. The whole point of Virgo season is to get us in alignment, to reorganize us, to rearrange us, to restructure us so that we're operating as a whole when we move into Libra season. That again is going to balance the scales, reset the karma, reset the masculine and feminine energies, reset the soul contracts, the storylines. So by the time we enter into Virgo season and then we're preparing to enter into Libra season, we will find ourselves aligned, restructured, redesigned in a lot of ways in order for us to enter into that equinox where we find balance amongst our heart and our head, amongst our inner realm with our outer realm, amongst the storylines, the chakra systems, the timelines that we will be moving into when the equinox energy ushers in a brand new chapter to emerging as this brand new sense of self. So guys, that's kind of all the energy, all the information that I have this time, this week, this session. I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the love and support. Thank you so much for spending your time, your energy, your attention with us, not only in the chat, but on the replay. Drop me a line in the comments. Drop me an emoji in the comments. It all helps the information get in front of the right people. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.